And to get us in perspective, we have been joined by Valentino, GOP strategist and commentator, host of the Grassroots Truthcast. Mr. Valentino, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. All right. Do you think that the debate was able to achieve what it set out to do, which was to convince the swing voters or the undecided voters, as they are called?
The undecided voters, I think, will come away with more of a decision for Trump than they will for Kamala Harris. Not because Trump did a real good job, because I've seen him better. He did not do a good job last night. After all, Trump is Trump. But Kamala is phony. Kamala came forward as a prosecutor with her judicial background and came at Trump to get under his skin. I know what Trump has done for America and for the world. But leaving last night's debate, I do not know what phony Kamala will do to America. All I do know is that in the last 2 to 3 weeks, she's done a 180. She switched her position on 6 or 7 issues that were clearly to favor the game of politics so that she would get those same undecided voters you mentioned to come her way. I think the voting American public has learned a lesson from 4 years ago and will not make the same mistake again.
All right. You rightly mentioned there has been a 180 when it comes to Kamala Harris because even the opinion polls show the same. But taking your assessment further, you say that Donald Trump did a bad job last night. If that's the case, how do you think the voters are going to see it?
I think the voters know Donald Trump better than they know Kamala Harris. I think there's certainty, even if you don't like Donald Trump and are ready to throw a chair at the TV, as your guest said, at least they know where he's coming from. In the case of Kamala Harris, I've had 3.5 years with her, ma'am, and 20+ million illegal immigrants have entered a nation of legal immigrants. I do not appreciate them turning their backs on that. I can name 6 issues, but I do not appreciate the Biden administration and now Harris, who was illegally brought forward to run in Biden's absence.
All right.
I don't appreciate them turning their backs on the legal immigration process. I bet you dinner that India would not tolerate the same level of illegal immigrants coming over its border the way Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have allowed here in the States. Let's start there. And if I may, one more issue. More importantly, today is 9/11, September 11th, 2001, 23 years ago. Over 3,000 Americans, some immigrants, some Americans, died in the World Trade Center when 2 terrorist attacks hit the World Trade Center towers. Over 400 fire department and police officers died that day in New York. Many more over the years after from carcinogens caused from the dust that spewed from that event. And today we honor the loss of all people from terrorist activities. And we as a nation have to get away from the squabbling and the nitpicking of these political issues and unite as a world group again, a humanitarian charitable group to protect the future of this world.
All right, Mr. Valentino, then let's move away from the debate. Here are some things that's happened after the debate. Pop star Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Donald Trump made an unexpected visit to the spin room and took questions from the media. Kamala Harris has asked for a second debate, which Donald Trump has said he's going to think about it. Kamala Harris also made a surprise at the watch party along with his running mate. I want to ask you, when you analyze post those 90 minutes inside the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, what do you make of all of this?
Well, you missed the biggest point of all. He had a right to go out to the spin room after when she was spinning at a party in her own venue. But the biggest issue you missed was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a Democrat, leaving the Democratic Party and becoming, I think, an independent, but supporting Donald Trump because of the hostile behavior. What the world fails to see is that our democratic due process has become derailed a bit by insider malevolent activity that doesn't meet your news cycle, that you don't see. Why is it that 15 million people who legally voted in a primary process for Joe Biden were denied and were hand-delivered without a choice Kamala Harris?
Right.
Never mind a spin room. How about the spin room of votes throughout the United States? Those elected people, whether I agree with them or not, were denied the right to the candidate they had originally chosen. And a Democrat liberal, even more far left than most people would appreciate,
right,
Alan Dershowitz, turns around and walks away from the same Democrat Party that put Kamala Harris in place.
All right.
And supported causes that were so extreme. And not one word was mentioned at that Democratic convention about the 20 million illegal people who have come over this line into America.
Mr. Valentino,
Pounds and
I'm completely out of time. I would like to just make 2 points. It did not miss our news cycle. Last I checked, when RFJ Jr. actually dropped out of the race and endorsed Donald Trump, he was less than 2% in terms of polls. And the second thing you said about a Democrat endorsing Trump, there is a Republican, Dick Cheney, who just endorsed Kamala Harris. So there is that. U.S. politics is fluid as none better than you would understand. But thank you so much for joining us here on WION and getting us your insights, Mr. Valentino.
I look forward to coming back to finish the sentence.
All right, sir. I look forward to it too.
Gene Valentino's Grassroots podcast. He tells the truth. He tries to get information out there to make sure people make good, informed decisions.